project, we're simply going to revisit one of our early projects of creating the property lot size app, but we're going to redo this using C# to create our UI. So we're going to add a C# content page and then develop the UI with C# and our code to make it run, all in the same file. So no different than before. I gave you the original instructions. Tip here, make sure that you change your main page reference in app.xaml.cs and some output that you can test to make sure the application works. Let me just run mine. Here is the property lot size app running using the C# content page user interface. And using the data that I gave you, we can put in 17080, show the acre size, and it's 39.21%. That corresponds to our suggested data. If we make this to be 6500, we should get 14.92%, and we do. And let's make that size 76855, and we should get 1.76 acres, and that's exactly what we get. There's 43,560 square feet in an acre. If we were to make this 21,780, we should get 50%, and that's exactly what we get. So I'm going to suggest you pause the video here, try this on your own, and if you struggle, come back and I'll walk you through my code review of how I solved this problem. In Visual Studio, I added a C# UI.cs content page class, and I did that by going to my project, choosing Add, Class, .NET MAUI, and chose a content page C#, and I gave it the name of C# UI.cs. In that file then is our user interface and our functional code, all written in C#. I created two class level views. One is an entry and the other one is a label. So the entry we're using for input, the label we're using for output. Name that entry lot size and LBL output. And I made those class levels and refer to them then also in code beyond the constructor where we create these things. In the constructor, I created a string of information about the size of an acre and what this app does. And then I did my object factory. So just a reminder here that the order you create these objects or these views is unimportant. We're going to lay those out then in a vertical stack layout, and that order will become much more important in terms of how they're laid out in the user interface. I created my title label, property size, gave it a font size of 32, font family of Arial Black, so I did add in those Arial fonts that I used in the first week, and then set out the vertical options, horizontal options, margin, and text color. For the LBL entry, this is going to be the label that identifies our entry in the horizontal stack. I just am asking the user to enter a square feet. I centered the options vertically, gave a little bit of margin on the right hand side, just so there's a little padding there, and set the font size to 12. That entry lot size object that's class level, we can define the properties here and simply referencing entry lot size, background color, font size, width request. And I set up a keyboard of numeric since we don't only have the user enter numbers into that field. Then I create a horizontal stack layout that's going to contain our label and our entry, and then a submit button. I'm going to say show acre size. I set the color to dark olive green, white, and gave it a width and height. And then finally our LBL output label, which again is class level. We're setting the text, the font size, the family, and the attributes and layout options. And I'm also going to make up 5 max lines. Really didn't need to do that. I think it's always going to fit in one line, but I think I did that originally in the second one to demonstrate that you could have more than one line in a label. And then set the color to dark red. Actually, that max lines probably is a copy and paste from our instructions label where we give the size of the acre and what this app does. So that's the end of my object factory, and now in the constructor, we're going to set the background color to bisque. I was experimenting with some different colors and keeping records of which ones I kind of like, but I think the colors.bisque looks good to me. You can choose other colors if you prefer. And the content equals new vertical stack layout. We're going to set the spacing to 25, the padding 30 left and right, vertical option start and horizontal option center. And then the children of that vertical stack, we're going to have our title label at the top. And then I created a new label of the instructions. I didn't create that in the Object Factory, mostly just to demonstrate that you can mix and match these things. You can create views within the children. You don't have to create that Object Factory if you don't want. And I set the text equal to that about string that we created above, gave it some options. Here's where I use that max lines of 5 and set the font attributes to bold and the font family to Arial. Then we do our HSL entry, our BTN submit, and our LBL output. By the way, on that HSL entry, I did add the children of LBL entry and entry lot size in the Object Factory. You could do that here as well. So you could do curly brackets and then children equals and put the children in there. Our BTN submit, LBL output. Then I use the lambda expression to add our show acre size event handler to that BTN submit button. Then that show acre size event handler, we're setting a lot feet value of double to 0. I'm using a constant of acre for this, how many square feet there are in an acre, and then acre size is also a double value. If double.try_parse, we're going to try to take the text that's in the entry lot size entry, and then if that works, we're going to put the value as a double value to our lot feet variable. If it doesn't, we're going to say it appears your lot entry is not numeric, fix and try again. But assuming they put in a correct value, we're going to take the acre size as being the lot feet divided by acre, and then using LBL output.text, we're going to output either the percent of an acre or the number of acres based on this ternary expression of is the lot feet greater than or less than, or actually is lot feet less than the size of an acre. And if it is, then we're going to set it to the percent of an acre. Otherwise, we'll set it to the number of acres, to 2 decimals. And that is my solution. And of course, make sure you go to the app.xaml.cs and change the reference to the startup page to main page equals new C# UI. If you just jumped into this video, you can see all the videos from the .NET MAUI Practicum playlist by clicking on the image in the lower right. And if you'd like to be alerted to future videos I create, you can click my picture in the top right to subscribe to the channel.